What is up, guys? Ian from the PI Podcast. Look, it's been a long time since we've done one of these, but we're gonna hit this season hard. We just hit 200 subscribers, so thank you guys for that. And of course, today we are gonna talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they play their first preseason game tomorrow night against the Dallas Cowboys, and there was a lot to build on from last year. Ended the season off on a very high note. They add Calvin Ridley. They don't really add much else, but they added Calvin Ridley. And I really think this offense has potential to take another level. I think last year they struggled early on in the season in the red zone. They struggled kind of getting a rhythm throughout the year. Obviously, in those last 7 or 8 games, they really, they started to figure out what they were doing. Doug Peterson, I think, is going to be able to call plays to get everybody open because everybody's going to be playing their true position, right? Last year, Christian Kirk was number 1, Zay Jones was number 2, but now these guys fall a little lower on the depth chart. They're still going to be super important to this offense, but now Calvin Ridley is a true number 1. Christian Kirk was a borderline number 1 receiver, but better in the slot. He'll be in the slot. And then Zay Jones, I mean, these guys are going to get open because they're going to have some focus on Calvin Ridley. And then Evan Ingram, you got to remember, there's pieces all around here. And then with ETN and Tank Bigsby in the back, I mean, this offense really has a lot of potential. With that being said, I kind of want to focus on Saturday night's game against the Dallas Cowboys and what I want to see from this team. So the top 3 things that I want to see, well, top 4, we might get into 5, let's see. Number 1 is staying healthy, right? That's the main thing. We've got some guys on this team that have had some pretty big injuries in their career. Calvin Ridley, broken foot, and he's also been a whole year out of football, so you don't want to see him getting banged up. Travis Etienne with his Lisfranc injury, you don't want to see him messing anything like that up. And then, Brandon Sheriff, I don't know if he's playing or not. He says he wants all the starters to get a couple reps. So, he's been pretty – he doesn't always stay healthy throughout the season, just in general. No big injuries, just has a tough time staying healthy throughout the season. So you hope all these guys can stay healthy, right? So that's the main thing. And then on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, we want Tyson Campbell to stay healthy, Rayshon Jenkins, Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker. We need all these guys to stay healthy. So with that being said, that's kind of a give me for expectations for the preseason game. But the second one is I want to see this offense really connect, right? We've been watching them throughout the offseason. They've been having their own practices in Arizona and stuff together to get meshed together. Evan Ingram took a little bit of time off because of his contract, which I'm not saying anything bad about. Got to get your money. So I really hope that they flow together because, like I said at the beginning of the season last year, other than game 2 and 3 against the Colts and the Chargers, they really struggled to connect. And granted, that could have been part of Trevor's development and stuff like that, but that's what I want to see out the gate. I don't want to see a slow, I want to see the momentum there right away. Against a good team in Dallas, even their depth is pretty good on defense. So that's my main thing that I want to see from this offense. From the defensive side of the ball, number 3 is I want to see the pass rush. I think our secondary, honestly, is not that bad. I know there's a lot of talks like Trey Herndon and stuff taking slots, doing the nickel and stuff like that. But here's the truth. If our D-line performs at a decent level, some of those secondary issues fade away, right? So they don't have to be a top 3 secondary. They can kind of relax a little bit, play the game as it comes to them. If the D-line can get pressure to the quarterback, that takes care of a lot of secondary issues, which I don't think there are a lot of. Obviously, the nickel situation is a little bit, but the pass rush needs to get there. Caleb Chason and Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, they got to have big years. And I think Smoot once he's 100%, I think he'll be solid, right? And then the fourth thing on this is the offensive line protecting Trevor Lawrence. And I want to see, we've got a lot of question marks on the offensive line. Obviously, with Cam Robinson's suspension, for the first couple weeks, it's kind of solidified Walker Little, Anton Harrison, Brendan Scherf, Tyler Shatley, and Luke Fortner are going to be the offensive line, I think, going into the season. I think Ben Bartch is still out. He has some heart issues. So I think that's pretty much it. But then let's see these guys play really well and force a question mark with Cam Robinson. Granted, he's being paid a lot of money, so he's going to have to play when he comes back. I don't think there's much question about that. But do we let Walker Little finish the season at left tackle, throw Cam Robinson at left guard, or let Walker Little play left guard, and we have a very solid offensive line at that point, in my opinion? Because I think Luke Fortner, even though he's a rookie, I think he's going to be a cornerstone of this offensive line after this year. He took over for Brandon Linder, and I think he's going to be the center of the future for our team. Even though he was a third-round pick, I they had a thing about him being one of the only rookies that played in all snaps for his team. He was like a top 3 in snaps played in general, so really big for him, and I think this preseason is a good thing. So we can see, I want to see Trevor, I want to see ETN, I want to see Tank Bigsby out of the backfield, I want to see how this running back room goes. And it all starts with the offensive line. And number 5, I just want to see a clean game, right? I don't want to see penalties. Granted, it's week 1, preseason. Week 2 technically, but I want to see what we saw last year. We saw a very disciplined team last year, and I want to make sure that the mentality stays the same. Like, hey, we're not underdogs anymore. We need to play like a football team, right? And that's kind of been the thing in the past, where in 2017 we played really well. Granted, a lot of that had to do with the front office and the coaching staff for 2018 being a lackluster year. And I think Doug Peterson has kind of set the standard. But that's kind of my expectations. Execution, I want to see both sides of the ball execute. Special teams, I would like to see some special teams plays where maybe we get to see a long kick from McManus so everybody can shut up about Riley Patterson and not Patterson. Now I can't remember the kicker's name from last year. But he went back to the Lions. But a lot of people were butthurt about that. Riley, right? His name was Riley. Anyway, but he didn't have a big leg. And a big leg helps on special teams in every aspect. Touchbacks, especially with the new fair catch rule. Like, you got to get that thing into the end zone every time. And the ability to kick 60-plus yard field goals is going to be huge for this team. There was a lot of times last year, even though Doug Peterson is a riskier type coach when he goes for it on, he'll go for 2, he'll go for it on 4th a lot. But having the option to hit a 60-yard field goal, when you're down 2 with 30 seconds left on a 4th and 4, that's a huge thing to be able to line up and do. So that I'm excited for the season, right? I think sky's the limit. I think a successful season is 11 wins, right? It'll be the first time we've done that in a while, and it'll set this team up to be able to get a top seed. But the fact of the matter is, we have a tough schedule, right? We play the 49ers, we play the Chiefs, we play a lot of teams, right? We play the Steelers, I think. We play a lot of top teams this year. So we really need to hunker down. Luckily, we're in a division where I think it's not going to be very competitive. That'll be the next video, actually, breaking down the AFC South a little bit, especially after we got to watch the Texans last night. But that'll be the next video, so keep an eye out for that from me. Pratesh's probably going to do some of his Falcons talk, his NFC South. We're going to be coming back with videos pretty tough. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.